Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me, hopefully knows where he is still after concussing himself before we got started here with his own microphone. It's Ryan Schumpert of Rocky Top Insider. Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Look, I didn't concuss myself. I didn't even hit my head or anything. It was an extremely unathletic move as I almost knocked over my microphone and then looked again, very, very stupid trying to catch it. But no concussion. We're good on that front.
You're all right. You're all right. He'll bounce back. It's just a little chilly. It's a little chilly here.
Yeah.
See this? You hear about this? Snow flurries this afternoon.
I got two pairs of socks on inside.
Oh, 2 pairs? Why don't you just get like really thick wool socks? Like,
yeah, I mean, I could do that. That would work, but I don't.
You're at that stage, Ryan Schumpert, where Christmas is coming up next year. That's a go-to. I think I get wool socks every year. Like I'm a big wool socks guy. I sleep in gigantic wool socks.
Sleeping in socks is crazy.
What?
No sleeping in socks.
I have to. I have terrible circulation. My hands and feet are always super, super cold.
That's a crazy move.
No, I'm sleeping like it could be mid-July. I'm going full warm thermal socks. Like, and I'm talking like they're huge. Like you can't even get slippers around them. They mean business. Those wool socks mean business.
I'm looking at you a little different for that. I'm going to be honest.
Like I'll sometimes
here right there is Ethan SnowDownSouth.com as well. Ethan, why were you looking at me different? Like, what's wrong with the wool socks?
I was going to co-sign the wool socks, what you were saying to Ryan, until you said you go to bed in them. That's crazy, man. No way. Not a chance. I don't think I've ever slept in socks in my entire life if I didn't absolutely have to. Like if I
don't think I've ever, I honestly can't remember the last time I slept without socks. I don't think I could function without socks. I mean, we're at a point now in the winter where I might sleep with gloves. Like we're now like
that's unbelievable news. I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe Ryan and Mark.
I just have terrible circulation, so my hands and feet get really cold. My feet, especially in the winter. So it's not great.
I did have. I'm trying to think of what the thing. Oh, I had fleas in my house a couple years ago.
Oh,
which was a terrible, miserable experience. And I, in attempts to try to help myself from not scratching my legs in the middle of the night while sleeping, I wore socks around my hands for like a week or two until we got rid of them, but never on my feet while sleeping.
Wait, so you stayed in the house while the fleas were like taking over? Like you went to battle day over day until like
yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, you went 1-on-1 in the octagon against the fleas.
I woke up and I taped up my ankles. Not actually, but yeah, no, it was a miserable experience.
You got to get a hotel, Ryan. You got to go back home to Nashville or something. You got to get out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
you're no match for the fleas here.
In hindsight, maybe that's what I would have done if things were changed. But the bigger issue was obviously I did not own the house. You know, I'm not a homeowner like y'all, as has been discussed on this very program. So I was not, I was at the mercy of the homeowner to get rid of them. And I would have liked that process to have been a little bit more snappy. But, you live and you learn. It's not an issue for me anymore.
Goodness gracious. That's actually one of the more, there's no way. Ethan and I are like, there's no chance I'm staying in a house with like a flea, like even in a hotel room, they're like, there's a bed bug situation, immediately out. Immediately you're checking and you're jumping out of there. We're not doing this. But I will tell you, my wife this weekend, she got attacked by, have you seen these like Asian ladybugs that are coming to Tennessee or something, that they look like ladybugs, but they're not ladybugs?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
She walked into like I don't want to call like a pack or a swarm, but they like were biting her. Yeah, I don't know, but she felt betrayed, like getting attacked by something that looks so cute, but I don't think they were ladybugs. But I think we saw an article that same weekend where I think it's a different type of, a beetle that looks like a ladybug, but it's not a ladybug. But it was like pinching her, because it was like it's crazy.
I didn't know they bite. I have seen a couple of them, but I did not know that they were like that.
I was like, you are one of the most unlucky people here in East Tennessee right now, because the odds of walking into something like that got to be pretty slim. Slim to none. I will say, I also got stabbed not stabbed. I got attacked in the face the night of the Morgan Wallen concert here by a wasp, where I just walked outside the front of my house and a wasp out of nowhere just right in the face. And I think that's I think that's the loudest I've ever yelled in my entire life. Like I screamed in bed. It hurt so bad. And I just like attacked in my own domain, like front yard, didn't even see it coming. It happened so fast, but
we were the two of us. I think it was the two of us. We were on here after we got done recording about a month ago when your wife came in and scared you, and that was a pretty loud yell.
Yeah.
Look, you know me. I don't scare easily. I'm never
pretty easy that night.
I don't scare easily. I'm not overzealous. I'm not hyperbolic. You know me. Never dramatic.
That was a good one.
Never dramatic. Never over dramatic. On this very program, in the group chat, it doesn't matter. Doesn't happen.
The term of the wasp stabbed you in the face is very funny. It's just making me think of the Always Sunny scene with Frank where he has the heart attack. Yeah. Somebody's gonna get stabbed for this.
But I mean, it did. I'd never been hit by like it feels like a stabbing, like the stinger right in the face, and it just man.
Where on the face?
Like in the cheek area, like face cheek area.
It's not fun. I've been stung. It's not a fun experience. I would want to be stung on the face for sure.
No, and you're like, oh my god, and you're like, what just happened? Okay, like it happened so quickly.
Your world is ending for like 5 seconds. You're like, I just got sucker punched. This is crazy.
Tears are coming out of my eyes. Where I'm like, I'm hurting. I'm down bad. Like down bad. Someone get to me at UT Medical Center. What's that? Never dramatic on this very program.
Not once.
But Tennessee Vols sports guys, Ryan and Ethan, every Monday night right here on the program. Ethan, biggest losers coming out of Vols hoops in week 1. Winners and losers here. Let's start on the loser side of things, though.
I wouldn't say there were too many. I'd say there were 2 that stand out. I think the popular answer for a lot of folks would be Jalen Carey. I'd say Amari Abram was probably an even bigger loser this weekend, just because Bishop kind of shocked a few people, shocked me for sure, playing really good defense, draining a couple threes. He's 3 for 5 to start the season. He didn't hit any last season. So that's a massive, I don't know if I'm going to say massive because we've played Northern Kentucky and Mercer, but that's a big development for Tennessee that Bishop Boswell is giving the Vols just about anything right now. And Troy Henderson is, he played better than I thought he would as well to start. I'm not sure what his role is going to look like. I think Bishop's going to have an extended role this season. I don't know what Troy's is going to look like just because, he's 6'1", a freshman. He'll be going against SEC competition. I don't know what that will look like. I do have confidence that Bishop can take those minutes. And honestly, Berg, I think, looked better defensively than Amari Abram did as well this week. I just think of those 4 that I mentioned, he's probably lowest in the pecking order as of right now. Now, that's not to say that couldn't change. There's a lot of basketball, a lot of non-conference basketball to be played. Barnes is still figuring that out. There's a chance, obviously, that he can shake this off, and because what Tennessee brought him in to do, I feel like was be the defensive guy, be a bit of a spark, be someone that could give you some legitimate minutes at the 2, as Tennessee figured that out. And he just, week 1, I don't think could have gone worse for him. He was missing his shots. I don't think he was all there defensively. At least not on the level that Boswell and Berg were. And then, like I said already, Boswell having the week that he had, I think kind of lowered his stock a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The Abram one concerns me more than Carey because I think you have depth there, like especially with the JP, who we'll talk about, I'm sure, in the winners part of this, but they're just deeper at that spot. Like, yeah, you would like to get something out of Jalen Carey consistently. I saw a stat. Did y'all see like he was a lot better in SEC play last year than in non-conference play? So it's still like, I would kind of wait on that one. I'm holding my stock on Jalen Carey until we get into SEC play. Like, it was not a great first week for him, but I'm not selling just yet. Abram, it's like the red carpet was kind of laid out there for you to like take this 2-guard spot and really push Bishop Boswell, because it's not like Bishop's putting up shots and scoring at a high clip or anything like that. So that one to me is kind of scary because like on one hand, I'm all in on Troy Henderson. Troy Henderson, great shooter. Like, he's going to be really fun as a multi-year player at Tennessee. But like you said, Ethan, 6'1", undersized. Like, I don't know how that works with extended minutes if he plays with Jacoby or Berg or anybody else in the backcourt. Like, I think that could get dicey defensively. But it's also like he's got he's the second best shooter on this team. And I think that he's going to force his hand to get some minutes and get some shots up. But Mari Abram, they need minutes from him. They need Amari Abram to be a reliable guy to some extent. Like, it's not like they need 30 minutes from him, but he can't get like lost in the shuffle here this early, like as a fourth year guy.
But I don't think that's really true. If Ethan Berg's playing well and Troy Henderson can help you some, and Bishop's, he scrap the threes. Like, if he's just any sort of a threat offensively and playing high level defense, like, I don't think you have to have Abram. Which I think is why, to Ethan's point, that is like it was a bad week for him. I don't know if I'd go as far as Ethan said. Like, I don't think it could have gone worse for him. I don't feel that strongly, but certainly underwhelming. Certainly, a little bit of you forget he's out there at times when you're watching them. So not a good week. I'm not writing him off yet, but it's the same way in the front court is at the 2 guard spot. Obviously, you just have 2 spots in the front court where Tennessee's got a lot of guys that are capable. And the 2 guard spot, none of them are great, which I think is going to make for interesting rotations. But it's also easy to see how someone, one of those guys is going to get left behind once they get to SEC play.
Yeah, and I don't think Carey's going to disappear because I think Barnes is going to naturally still want to keep trying Carey, and that toughness and everything else come SEC play. Like, I think Carey's going to get more opportunities to figure it out in SEC play. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he has a better chance of getting those opportunities and more bites at the apple, I guess is the expression, than Abram if Barnes loses some faith there in SEC play. Is that fair?
I agree with that as well, just because Carey at the very least showed that he could be a really good rebounder. I feel like in the first game especially, he was really good as a rebounder. At Vanderbilt, that was kind of his calling card in a lot of ways. I think he kind of struggled a little bit before, like you say, figuring it out a little bit in SEC play last season, but he was a good rebounder the entire year. And I think, I'm not sure if it's a perfect comparison, but I think Tennessee right now, and obviously, like I said earlier, there's a chance for this to change. There's a lot of basketball to be played, but I kind of envision him as like a freshman year Tobe Awaka type of guy. Just come in 5-10 minutes, get the rebounds, and hopefully kind of inject some juice into the team when they need it. Because, after that start, if that keeps continuing and that's the trend in non-conference play, I'd agree. He's the one that's going to get left behind, but I think a little bit better what he brings to the team right now than Abram, that at least what he showed the first week.
Ethan, to your point, I mean, I've said it multiple times and on our RTI stuff, Jalen Carey, he's got a rebound. That's how he can help this team. And in 3 games this year, obviously 2 road games, exhibition, he had 2 rebounds against Duke. He had 10 rebounds against Mercer. He had 1 rebound against Northern Kentucky. So it's been very boom or bust. Like that is how he can help this team, is rebounding, bring physicality, bring some fouls. That's what he's gonna have to do. So that will always be. I don't think there's a single other player on the roster that you can boil down looking at their performance and what Tennessee needs from them and circle one number on the stat sheet as much as you can with Jalen Carey and rebounds, in my opinion.
Interesting. On the positive side, because Tennessee have started out great, 3-0 here, and Nate Ament really coming on here these last 2 games as well. Great. I saw a great photo of that Jacoby Gillespie dunk. I think WBLT's John Sartori shared that. That was pretty awesome. But Ryan Schumpert, you know who the week 1 winner is, where you heard Gus Johnson crown Fernando Mendoza as a Heisman guy on Saturday afternoon.
Right around the same time.
Is it too soon to crown Mr. Naismith himself, JP Estrella? Is it time? Is it too soon? The double machine at Tennessee? Oh, what can he do? He can rebound. He can shoot. You can throw it inside. What can he not do, JP Estrella? What a time. What a time. What a time, Ryan Schumpert. Biggest winner. JP Estrella. JP.
I thought this was a question.
Clarence Mazamba for 3 with the shout out is on that YouTube shorts. It's just, we're one and the same. It's the Spider-Man meme in real life. Me and JP Estrella just pointing at each other. It's the same thing.
Chase, with all that, you're making it hard for me not to make some jokes that I know you don't want me to make on this very podcast. But no, he was awesome. He was awesome in the first week of the season. He showed, a lot of stuff that we'd seen in the preseason, that we saw during the full scrimmage open to the public, and even a couple of the scrimmages that the media got to watch too, that weren't open to the public, that he showed that offensive flash. So he was great. The rebounding, I think, was especially positive. So it was a really good week for him. And I think, other guys besides him, we hit on Bishop. He had a really good week. And then I think also I'd go Dwayne Brown, just from, again, that Jalen Carey thing. I kind of continue to think the same thing, where not that someone's going to get cut out and it's not going to play an SEC play, because I don't think that happens. But it feels like that rotation will be more heavily leaning on 4 guys once they get to the games that matters. And Dwayne Brown, to me, has made a serious statement from Duke on that. He's a real threat to be one of Tennessee's best 4 inside. He's rebounded well. He's got good touch to score it. He's been good defensively. So again, I don't know exactly what the role looks like for him. I've said it a couple times where I felt this way going into the season. It's like, if he was on last year's team, he would have played a ton of minutes and helped them a lot. This year's team, it's a little bit less clear. But again, to your point about Troy Henderson, I think he's going to help this team. Dwayne Brown is, and at the very, very least, he's going to be a really fun multi-year player for Tennessee.
Yeah, I think you've struck some gold here with Henderson and Brown. And I'm not selling Amari Evans stock. He just, we talked about, it was just kind of like he's behind, where
he's been injured so much.
Yeah. So it's just, he's still a huge question mark, TBD, if he can factor in. But he has a talent, especially defensively, be one of your best on-ball defenders. And maybe he's someone, as the season goes on, gets more and more comfortable, and we see some flashes from him too. I would say Berg is a winner. Berg is not going to be like a star guy, but I think I dropped the group chat where it's he's just you can tell he's played pro basketball. Was something I jotted down. We have our Tyus Jones here for all the NBA guys. He knows how to settle things. He's very comfortable with the ball. I think he's going to get more and more comfortable with the offense and with these guys. He feels more like watching Zakai out there in some ways offensively, the way he moves around and looking to find guys, and just very comfortable with the ball in his hands, not looking to shoot first. He's a great table setter, but that to me is interesting, because I thought he might be the best chance to be the biggest minutes getter at the 2, but I think he's the guy who has to be the backup point guard for whenever Jacoby sits. I think you have to give all the backup league guard minutes to Berg from what I saw in week 1. I think he's going to be really, really solid there. And Tennessee's it's going to be a little bit of a drop, but not much. I think Berg's going to be a really good player for them, backing up Gillespie.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be a decent sized drop, but he's better what they've had a backup point guard than what they've had the last handful of years, no doubt. But I think to that point, I don't think that means he can't start at 2. Again, I don't think there's going to be a ton of minutes Jacoby Gillespie is sitting, so I think you can manage those. But yeah, that definitely is a week 1 takeaway, is that he is, even though Troy Anderson has played well and played a good bit of minutes, it's Ethan Berg.
He's not really a point guard. I don't see point guard for Troy Henderson.
You would have said the same thing about freshman year Zakai.
No.
Yeah,
Zakai can't shoot like Troy Henderson. They're not even the same stratosphere of comfortable shooting.
I think they're pretty
not
close.
Comfortable. That's not true at all. In what world was Zakai ever not comfortable?
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying is he can, the shot is there. Troy
he's
is
a better shooter, but
Zakai was never a good shooter. Zakai was a clutch shooter, but he was not a good shooter. That's
fine, but Troy is still small and undersized, and freshman year Zakai was not a point guard. So I still think Troy long term is going to want to turn him into a point guard because of just the size aspect.
Troy is just going to be a really good shooter. He's going to
he's definitely a much better shooter than Zakai, I think.
Yeah. Ethan, early SEC hoops read when you're looking around this conference in week 1. Obviously, Alabama impressing with the win of the week over St. John's. That backcourt looks terrifying for the Crimson Tide. An Elite 8, Final 4 in the last 2 years. They've been kind of overlooked, I think, in some capacity going into this year. But Alabama, I think they are huge winners and look to be maybe the scariest team in the conference out of the gate. But based on what you've seen from the Vols and what you've seen from around the conference, where do the Vols look to be in the pecking order right now in the SEC?
Yeah, and one note on Alabama. I think a lot of that, because I agree with you, Chase. I had them at 5 myself in the SEC, and I think a lot of the reason for that is because with Mark Sears leaving, you assume that there's going to be some drop off there, and I just yeah certainly didn't show against St. John's because Latrell Wrightsell and Phylon and Holloway looked incredible. I mean, just incredible. All three of them scoring from all 3 levels. I mean, it was. It was something to watch. Scary is a good word. They look really dangerous. That backcourt looks really, really good. And Bull Bowen showed out as well. He looks pretty decent as well. So interested to see if they can get like a post presence a little more. That's one thing that kind of worries me moving into SEC play about them. But they're not going to finish below 4th in the SEC. And I think Alabama is one of them that's probably right now I'd put above Tennessee. And we're 2 games in. Tennessee has played Northern Kentucky and Mercer. I think Florida looks pretty good. I think they have a little bit of trouble with their guards. I think Lee and Fland are a little having a little bit of growing pains more so than at least I thought they would. I thought they'd be great right off the bat, and they really did not have a good showing against Arizona. But Florida's probably right there, and then Kentucky looked really good, but they've only played 2 teams similar to what Tennessee has played to this point. That'll change on Tuesday when they play Louisville. We'll get a good read on Kentucky then. I seem to think that they're pretty good, but those are the teams right now that I would say that are in Tennessee's stratosphere. I'd say all those 4 teams are probably the best in the SEC right now. Arkansas looked pretty good against Michigan State the other night. Georgia and Vanderbilt, honestly, have both looked really good to start, but they haven't really played anybody. So at this point, it's just kind of a waiting game to see how it turns out. But I think preseason expectations wise, Tennessee's about where I thought they would be right now. It's just, Vols have 3 more games against Rice, North Florida, and I don't even remember the other one before they get Rutgers. Yeah, before they get Rutgers and Houston for real on November 24th.
Kind of diabolical that we've got Tennessee off a bye in football, and then New Mexico State, and then Tennessee basketball. Just all these basically bye games. With all due respect, it's just like this is bad timing. Bad timing.
Yeah. There's every year for that Louisville or Wisconsin early season game.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Ryan, though. I think I'm all in on Vanderbilt as well. I think they're pretty
they
good.
Looked really good. I think offensively they're going to be exceptional. And I think they're just a classic example. They did the same thing last year where that's the thing about basketball. It's not about compiling the most top 100 transfers. It's about compiling a roster together that fits. And I think you'd look at Vanderbilt's offseason moves and not think any of them were just like exceptional, but I think they've built a team. Mark Byington's built a team that fits really well, and I think they're going to be in the top of the conference. Florida, I don't have a ton of worries about that. No, the thing, Ethan, I'm curious your thoughts. Like the thing I balance with Florida so much, and maybe I'm overreacting to Lee and Fland just being so inefficient in the opener, where it's like, obviously, everybody has so much turnover, so it's hard to project. And you naturally, Florida won the national championship, they have their whole front court back that was really good, so you just give them the benefit of the doubt. So, on one hand, it's that. On the other hand, it's like they won the national championship. Their front court was good, but they won the national championship because their guards were amazing, and none of the guards are there anymore. Yeah. And again, they replaced them with solid players, but I don't know. I'm a little, I don't know what to make, I guess, of Florida. With their roster bit, the way they built their roster this year. And again, Fland, I just wasn't a huge fan of last year. And Lee, obviously, it's just a huge question in how he makes the jump from the Ivy League to the SEC.
Yeah, and I do think that's the question. I agree. And Lee, really, neither of them, I agree with you, looked very good against Arizona. It was all that front court, which I would say alternatively looked very good. I think Hanlogden gave them a lot, more than I thought they would. At least Alex Condon looks fantastic. There's no worries there. And that alone, I think, raises what their floor is this season. But Walter Clayton Jr., I've watched him a lot with the Jazz. He is great at basketball, folks. He is really, really good at basketball. And not having him, that's obviously pretty massive for Florida because he was like Zakai. He did so much for the Gators last season, obviously. Kind of willed them to wins against Texas Tech, and then obviously played very well against Houston as well. And then Elijah Martin, like you say, he was their defensive guy. He was their Jemima Shack, and he's not there either. So if you're losing both of that against an SEC backcourt grouping that has, Jasper Johnson and, Acuff, and not Acuff, and really, the entire conference has guys. Obviously, Tennessee has Gillespie, and you can just go through. Otego Way has been fantastic. Josh Hubbard right now isn't having the best outing against Iowa State, but you get my point. The SEC is filled with really good backcourts, and Florida's got to figure that out because that could come back to bite them, even as good as their forwards and their centers are.
Chase, permission to go completely off topic on a tangent.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there Saturday night flipping around some of the football games, but watching a good bit of Arkansas, Michigan State. And I'm sitting there laughing at how bad John Calipari is at drawing up offenses. They just shoot terrible shot after terrible shot in the final 5 minutes of the game. And I'm kind of the Alonzo Mourning gif of, shaking my head, and I go, that sport coat he has on looks phenomenal. And I'm thinking, he really had, like, him going to Arkansas, and he's got a bunch of different red sport coats that I think look really good. Has been great for his look. And then I'm just kind of thinking, kind of missed the sport coat. I'd watch Rick Pitino in the suit. It looked good earlier in the day. And I'm thinking about, man, all these coaches, they just look better when they dress sharp. And then it's a little bit later. The Tennessee Smokies made me work at 9:30 by being a Mickey Mouse operation. And then I get in bed and I flip on the Oklahoma Gonzaga game. And Porter Moser, and I remember I'd forgotten about it. I remembered it from last year. He wears the worst suits I have ever seen in my life. Like, how are you still a coach wearing a suit in 2025? And he dresses horribly. He wears these like all black suits with red ties, like black shirt, black pants. I think he was wearing like maybe navy on black the other night. It was unbelievable how bad it looked. And I don't know. That's completely off topic. It brings really nothing to the conversation, but it's pretty remarkable because typically the coaches now, Nate Oates, another one, the ones that still wear the sport coats typically look really good. Like they take a lot of pride in how they look on the sidelines. And then you have Porter Moser, who looks like he just raided the local Goodwill for whatever dress clothes they had and rolls up on the sideline.
The fact that this ended with Porter Moser when he started this,
and Oklahoma stinks too. Oklahoma stinks too. That's a take for some basketball.
Well, it's never good when like the story I saw from Oklahoma this week is like Porter Moser talking about losing a key player to baseball and being like, it's November 10th, and that's the conversation. All right.
Right.
Probably not.
Right. I was watching. I'm sorry, Chase. This has to come out right now. I was watching that game last night, the Oklahoma one, and I remembered while you were talking, I was like, you know what? I made a mental note as well that it was bad. So I just looked it up. I couldn't find it on Twitter, so it took me a second to look it up. It is exactly as Ryan is describing it. I mean, the guy looks like he just found a suit off the street, and he's like, this will play. I got Graham Ike and Gonzaga tonight. I'll put it on.
It's like, I think you should leave. That'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it.
I think that'll do it. And I'm looking it up now. Like, there's a ton of him just wearing golf shirts in Oklahoma. So at some point, he went from the golf shirt back to the suit.
Nate Oates does a great job.
Terrible. He does.
Like, you should be following Nate Oates. Like, Nate Oates is probably the guy you should be following if you want to get back in the suit game.
Hubert Davis does it well at North Carolina on Friday night. I was noticing that.
I do think we should bring it back because, I think we've gotten too athleisure-y. I don't love it. Like, I've always been a big proponent that baseball managers should not be wearing actual uniforms. It's insane that they're wearing uniforms like it looks like they're playing dress up. It's just, and I understand a lot of these guys are former players and everything else. It's just weird. Like, you'll never sell me on managers wearing uniforms like the players. It will always be odd to me. But basketball, I don't know. There's just something like you don't have to do the suit and tie, but I think the sport coat with just a button down, it's good luck. Like, I still think that, especially in college, like there's just something about it, the college level too, where you're like, I think it's time to bring it back. We've gotten too comfortable in that regard, but I feel like Rick's he's out. Like, there's no way you can make him go back to that at this point.
He'll retire before he goes back to that.
That would be the funniest way that Rick Barnes air it. Like, they actually reinstitute a rule that coaches have to wear suit and tie again, and he's like, nope, I'm out.
I thought Kelly Harper, I thought she had at the very least a very logical policy, which was for home games we're going to dress nice and road games will go athleisure because packing it and all that stuff's tough. I don't know how well that would actually look if every game you had one coach dressed nice and the other coach not in the quarter zip. But I respected that policy. I thought that made a lot of sense.
My wife is back. Like, we're back in that season where it's like, hey, Rick, no gray quarter zips. Like the gray quarter zip does not work for Coach Barnes, with all due respect. And she's adamant. She's like, it's got to be orange or black or white. You can't do the gray.
I think the orange and white are worse. I think black's definitely the best, and then gray, and then some version of probably white then orange.
Orange is hard for everybody.
Yeah. No doubt.
It's hard. Just part of the deal. Well, there you go. The Fashion Minute here on the Chase Thomas podcast with Ryan Schumpert and Ethan Stone. You never know
Can you
where
tell
our conversations are going to go.
Can you tell it's off an open date and it's New Mexico State week?
Like, I don't want to talk about this game. I don't want to watch this game. The buzz is terrible, by the way. I feel like the season's over for Tennessee football. Does it feel like Tennessee football is even still happening? Like, the last 2 weeks have been just doldrums. Like, no talk at all. Like, it feels like we're gasping at straws. Like, I'm watching the Joey Aguilar stuff today and the press. I feel like we're doing exit interviews where it's like, what was your favorite part about Tennessee? And you're like, what? He's telling stories about not being able to go to the mall. And he's getting torn in the mall. I'm like, what are we doing? Isn't this game week?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't think it's like, I think I'll get juice back for next week for Florida and stuff. But yeah, these 2 extended weeks it's rough.
Yeah, like I saw that and I was just like, oh no. Like he's got nothing to do. He's out here walking around. And he's like, he's like, oh, I can't go to the mall. I was like, all right. I feel like that's a postseason story. Like, just my
the mall one's
experience
fine, but they're very much worse. Like, what have been your favorite parts of playing at Tennessee? That again felt like very, very exit interviewee.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, you've been all over this all morning, all weekend. You were wondering when you saw Legend Bay took an official visit to Columbus over the weekend. Like, the group chat was in shambles where Ryan was ready to write the legend continues when Legend Bay arrived at Tennessee. And he's not going to be able to do that because he flipped the 4-star quarterback, running back, wide receiver hybrid to the Buckeyes here over the weekend. Your reaction to Legend Bay not sticking with the Vols in the 2026 cycle, Ryan Schumpert?
Oh, it happened. It seemed like it was going to happen. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Nice. Hate to see it. Tough. I mean, awesome name. Seems like a really good athlete. Tennessee's receiver class has been hyped up as being really, really good, which I think, it takes the sting away a little bit. And, I always thought he looked like a slot guy and Tyreek King looks like a slot guy. So I wondered how those two coexisted in Tennessee's offense long term. But yeah, he's obviously a guy that Ohio State wanted. I think Texas had offered him too recently, if I'm not mistaken, and had tried to push. So clearly a good player and clearly a loss for Tennessee, but probably a spot Tennessee can afford it at in this 2026 class about as much as anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, they got 3 other big names. Sleazy Mo is a big flip, more of a wide receiver guy. Because I think Legend Bay, you're not really sure what position he is at Tennessee, kind of like Cam Seldon a couple cycles ago. And obviously that did not work out. And I think he was playing receiver at Virginia Tech this year after transferring from Tennessee. So you got him, you got Tyreek King, and you've got Tristan Keys. I mean, it's still a very stacked room. But my whole thing that I was interested in Bay was I think he's a running back at the college level. I think he's someone who he's just so good with the ball in his hands. And I mean, look at his quarterback numbers in Texas this year. I feel like he's a running back, and I feel like he's someone who you can just use in multitude of ways, especially with how much Tennessee has evolved offensively this year, that I think he would have been really fun and interesting to see in this scheme. But you're going to have to get somebody in that group because you don't have a running back in this class, and Bay was really kind of the best chance. I'm kind of curious because Amari Latimer took an OB, the Wisconsin commit. Does he stick with Wisconsin with Luke Fickell officially getting another year, or does he the Sandy Creek, Georgia native, does he stay closer to home and maybe flip to Tennessee? So I don't know. I think Miami and Ohio State are also in on that one, but it feels like if Ohio State got Legend, then they're probably not going to get Amari Latimer on a flip as well. So that'll be interesting because I do think Tennessee kind of needs a tailback in this class. Even if you get David Gabriel Georges next cycle, still a ways away, and we'll see how much they keep. But Star Thomas is gone after this cycle. Are we sure Peyton Lewis is a lock to come back based on how this season has gone for him? And then there's not like a whole lot of obvious depth behind them. So I don't know. I do think they it's not like a huge need to close with somebody, but Mari Latimer would be really nice right now, Ethan Stone.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, Tennessee has never really struggled to run the ball under Heupel. That's just where I would head in that point. Like with the transfer portal the way it is, with the way that Heupel has kind of consistently put a good run game to the field, Bay leaving doesn't necessarily move me too much. I kind of had a reaction very similar to Ryan, really, because I do see him as a receiver, but I do understand your point. I think there's a lot of places in the college offense that he could play, and Ohio State probably promised him something that he's looking for, probably to be a wide receiver, really. And you see Tennessee's really good class, and that kind of moves it around a bit. But you never know. An athlete like that is always hard to turn away because he is a good athlete. That's what he showed in high school. He showed that explosiveness. So that sucks to lose, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to hurt Tennessee too much. That's not really one you lose sleep over when you have the talent ahead of them that you had in King and Moa.
That's fair. The other one I was going to throw out there that was kind of a late addition. I forgot this happened because it's been a couple days, but Josiah Jervis ends up picking Michigan State, the 4-star combo guard, over Tennessee a few days back. So now that he's off the board, Ryan, what is Tennessee's board? Because Miles Sadler is just like out, like just kind of a bizarre recruitment and following his OVs and as a top 50 player, someone that Tennessee had as for an OV feels like forever ago. And then obviously you're waiting on Rippey Jr. From New York, the 5-star point guard who seems like Tennessee's going all in on. What's Tennessee's recruiting plan now with Jervis out of the fold?
I think those are really the only two guys that you need to have a strong eye on right now. To me, is Rippey and Sadler. I think Tennessee wants to get one of those guys and will be willing to use a good chunk of change to do so. So really, those are the two guys I think that need to keep your eye on right now. Obviously, names will probably pop up and stuff like that after the season or after the high school season and over the winter is, obviously coaching changes can obviously always impact that. But I think Tennessee's pretty happy with the three they have right now. And, they want to get one of those guys. I don't expect either of those guys to do anything this week or do anything until the new year. So I don't think anything is going to be imminent with them. But those are kind of the two big names to watch right now.
So it's not like you'd be surprised if one of the two is not an Orange next year.
I wouldn't say surprised. I would probably pick Tennessee to land one of them, but I wouldn't say I'd be, surprised if Tennessee doesn't get either. But I do think Tennessee's in the top 2 or 3 for both of them. So
the Sadler thing is just bizarre to me. Rippey is like a normal top 10 5-star player. Like you look at his OVs and who's targeting him. Sadler, it's just weird visits and like weird teams targeting him. I don't understand the Miles Sadler stuff.
Yeah, I think it's not quite as weird. I mean, the Santa Barbara one's obviously the one that's really strange.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to get to UCLA and get to USC for visits. And I think in the end, you're going to see it settle into a top group that's makes some sense. USC, UCLA, Maryland, Tennessee, West Virginia, Oklahoma. I know he visited too, those type of schools. So, I think it's just the nature of him. I mean, he's a really small guard, so I think that makes him a little bit less sought after, even as a really highly rated recruit. And I know Tennessee, they speak really highly of him and have been very, very impressed every time that they've been out to watch him. But I don't think I think it's just more slow moving or more space between some of the visits where Rippey's gone on like 8 visits and it's been every week all fall he's been somewhere. So it just feels like that's had a little bit more consistent rhythm to it.
I like it. Final basketball thing here before we wrap up with some baseball final fall takeaways here. Ethan, how big is it if JP is a legitimate breakout star for Tennessee basketball? How much does that change their ceiling this year? Because I feel like it changes it in a gigantic way. And if JP is able to build on this and he's a legitimate star, what say you?
I'd say that's the question we've been asking for a while. But the first 2 games, he's looked really, really good. I mean, if he played 40 minutes the other day, he would have averaged 34 and 22, which not half bad. But he played 20 minutes, so I have to settle for what was it, 17 and 11. Had a really, really good outing, obviously against Northern Kentucky, but I feel like I sound a little bit like a broken record here. I want to see what that looks like against Rutgers and most importantly against Houston, because there were times I felt like that he kind of struggled a little bit in the post defensively. That makes me a little nervous, but it makes me less nervous when you think that it's probably Felix that he's going to be on the court with a good amount of the time. You played JP at the 4 with his offensive abilities and his offensive rebounding as well, what he's been able to do in the post there against, smaller teams. But, obviously a lot of promising stuff there. And if he can be, the very, very good, very elite offensive big that, Chase really hopes he is, and all other Tennessee fans hope he is. Obviously, that's massive because you got Jacoby, who is a playmaker, a knockdown shooter, and then you got Nate Ament, a guy that Tennessee just has not really ever had before offensively, and he's shown out the first 2 games. So that would pair with them very well. It would pair with Okpara really well. Just wait and see at this point. Wait for November 24th, and we'll probably get an answer.
I'm going to have to go to the Houston game and sit really close to the Tennessee bench, because if Houston starts bullying around JP, or JP's like struggling to get his footing early, I'm going to have to be within earshot of Coach Barnes with all their don't you do it! Don't you do it! I just reaching to go to Dwayne Brown or somebody else, throwing Cade out there or something. And I'm like, no, let JP get settled. Don't do it. Don't take him out. Let him figure it out. Let him work through it. Let him work. Give him the Dalton treatment. Let him go. Let him figure it out. I've got to be near the bench and just be within earshot I feel like I am a part of this now. I feel like I have to make sure that Rick Barnes does not. I'm what?
I said that's going to be insufferable.
Facts only, man. You got to let JP figure it out. Houston's going to be a tough matchup for him, but you can't just a quick pull. Can't have it with JP. Got to let him work through it.
I think the big thing to me, and I said it in here, is just how many. That's what I'll be continuing to track, especially over these next 3 games when Tennessee plays nobody. Is how many minutes does he play with Felix Okpara? Because that's the front court. Because Felix Okpara is just going to play a lot of minutes because of what he brings defensively. How much can JP play with him? And offensively, it's no issue at all. Those two, can stretch the floor just a little bit. Obviously, JP is a really talented offensive player. Felix brings that lob threat aspect. I don't think that's an issue. It's defensively against certain matchups. Can JP guard stretch 4s and be good enough defensively to come out and play good defense? That's kind of the question. Because I think Felix is, but Felix's best strength as a player in general is his ability to defend the rim, and I'm not sure you want to do that a ton. So that's the aspect that I'll be looking for the most. And I think when you talk about Tennessee's ceiling and Chase, to your point of how much a JP breakout, how much better does that make Tennessee? If JP does break out and it's really good, how many minutes can you play in the game and all that stuff, the pairings, all that's gonna play a part and affect what it looks like.
Yeah, how long do you sit Felix for JP?
Yeah, there's gonna be games where that's. I know you're just rage baiting me, but if JP is playing really well, you certainly can play him more minutes than Felix. I don't think that's impossible by any means, but it's just getting. Felix brings something that none of Tennessee's other post bigs are particularly close in, and JP brings something that Tennessee's other post bigs aren't particularly close in. And being able to play those guys together for extended minutes and more than just a handful of matchups on your schedule, I think very much changes, what your ceiling is.
And the Cade blocks, we should give Cade a shout out. Cade blocks are great. Cade blocks are a lot of fun, and I'm going to enjoy those for the full season. They come out of nowhere. He's just. Cade's just an athletic freak, man. Cade is an athlete with a capital A, and it's great. Yes.
Can I say something that Chase might get upset about me saying on this program?
Let me get a timestamp here just in case.
Yeah. What Cade is doing is simply phenomenal for racial stereotypes in basketball.
Oh, I knew this is where this was going. I don't know why. I don't know.
He's an elite athlete. He is an elite athlete.
I knew.
In a pretty mediocre.
I knew where this was going. I should have said motion denied.
That's not.
That's on me.
Spot the line.
He's right. This is a good take. I like this.
Tell me that I'm wrong. I didn't say anything that bad. And I'll leave it at that.
He can jump out of the gym.
It's unbelievable. I'll tell you what. What's the Chase to? You were talking about the block, which the block was awesome. The JP to Cade lobs. Those are things of beauty. When JP gets the ball from 10 feet in the middle, and you have to respect him shooting that, and Cade has the little baseline cut. Like that's pretty.
The bigs, Tennessee bigs this year are gonna be fantastic. If they can stay healthy, gonna really enjoy this big rotation.
Second best front court in the SEC behind Florida, in my opinion.
I think that's fair. Let's wrap with the final Vols baseball takeaways here. Wrapping up fall ball here. Ryan Schumpert was going to be at the Smoky Stadium, moved last minute, playing at night under the lights in the cold at LNS, where you were one of.
Not under the lights, because the lights don't work at LNS right now. So under the afternoon clouds.
Is that it? So there were no lights.
That seems
dangerous. That's why they moved it up to 2 o'clock, because they don't have lights.
Oh, I didn't realize they moved it up. I was just reading I thought it was still the same time, so I assumed it just got dark as y'all were watching. Okay.
That's part of the reason they wanted to do it at Smokies at night, so they could kind of get that vibe at least once in the fall, because the lights do not work currently at the stadium.
So what were your final fall takeaways here, Ryan Schumpert? What are the biggest knowns going into winter ball, and what are the biggest unknowns about this team?
Yeah, I think I can ramble a lot about this. I think just to start, I'm really high on the pitching staff. I like them a lot. Evan Blanco has been awesome all fall, and he's kind of a little bit. Two things I'll say: the nickname I've made for him from Seinfeld is when George calls himself the little bulldog. He's the little bulldog. Like he doesn't overwhelm you with his stuff. But he's built like he's a little bit of a shorter guy, but built real stocky. I mean, he's got a little bit of like a lefty Chad Dallas, where his stuff, it doesn't just overwhelm you, but he's a really good competitor. So I like him. I think Bo Rudy's going to be the Kennesaw State transfer is going to be a fantastic piece out of the bullpen. Brandon Arvidsson's looked the part. Mark Hindy is a massive guy, way bigger than I thought Duke transfer. So I like what they have on the mound. I think, and Josh Elander's talked about it a couple times with us. Like they just have a diversity of looks. I think that will give them a lot of flexibility. And then, offensively, I think there's still a lot of questions about who fits where. And, I think Jay Abernathy's played a lot less center field in the fall than I expected him to. And I think, Levi, to me, it was one of the freshmen now going on sophomores that took a big leap this fall. But the other ones, not that they were bad, but I didn't feel like they took massive leaps. So just how everybody's going to fit in. Blake Grimmer had a nice fall too. Middle infield's going to be interesting. Ariel had a nice fall. So it's all very interesting to see. And then I think just the broader strokes is, how does Tennessee baseball look different with Josh Elander as the head coach compared to Tony Vitello? Because, there's certainly going to be a ton of similarities, but, Elander's his own man too. And I'm sure he has baseball philosophies that were different than Tony, and some things are going to look different. And that could be a number of different ways with the tinkering and playing guys at different positions, handling the bullpen, how much he leans on Frank for decisions, like all that stuff just could look different for a first-year head coach, and especially one that was thrust into the job at a odd time in the cycle.
The infield especially is going to be fascinating because Blaine Brown has been mashing, and I think he's pushed his stock into the bat has to be in the order. Like Blaine Brown is going to be a masher, but Blake Grimmer is like the ultimate wild combination. Yeah, he's the wild card here to me.
I mean, I leave the fall, and I think there's not a world where those two guys have not been two of Tennessee's best 9 hitters. So I think that makes it more complicated. Now, Grimmer has been improved defensively, I do think, but that's always been the knock on him, and he has struggled at third base at times, and he's played a couple different spots. And because I think it just would be easy to say, all right, well, Blaine Brown's just a DH. I think that's interesting with those two guys who both had really good falls at the plate.
I think, to put a bow on it, Reese Chapman's not a guarantee to start. As a comeback, I think there's so much talent.
He's a guarantee to start.
He's what?
He's a guarantee to start. I would be stunned.
Do you think so? With the amount, if
I think he's going to start in center field.
Yeah, but then where's Jay?
Second base.
Okay, where's Ariel and Grimmer and Ford?
Ariel's either not playing or at shortstop.
Okay, where's Marin then?
Third base or shortstop if Ariel's not playing.
Okay, where's Myatt?
We'll see. I mean, there are a ton of questions, but to me, the infield's a lot more there's a lot more uncertainty to me. There's a lot more bodies than for sure spots in the infield as opposed to the outfield, where I almost think it's the opposite. I think you're almost looking for somebody to step up. But again, depends. Is
Well,
Henry
see,
Ford
I
going to
guess
play
I
third
kinda
base?
looked
Is he
at
going
it
to
where
play
I was like,
outfield?
yeah, I mean, but I could see Brown, Jay, and Newstrom in the outfield, or Ford in one of those spots too. Like, I don't know.
I don't think you'll have Jay and Newstrom in the outfield. I think one of those guys will be in the infield.
Okay. But this is going to be fun. Like, I think there's going to be some experimenting, and there's just so much competition. Like, there is so much competition with this group.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, there's going to be a lot of tinkering early in the season. I think, to me, the question is how much of the tinkering is Jay Abernathy playing second and center, Chris Newstrom playing second and third base and left field. Like, how much of it is just guys at certain spots kind of locked in, or is it guys moving around a ton like it's been under Tony?
Ethan Stone, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at SaturdayDownSouth.com this week?
Yeah, as usual, I'll have bowl projections out tomorrow. Obviously, winding down in the season, just a couple weeks left. Nobody in the ACC wants to go to the playoff. I'm not sure anybody outside of Texas Tech wants to go in the playoff and in the Big 12. So, interesting finish coming. I'll have some intrigue into that. And then, obviously, basketball season starting. I should be writing a little bit, at least once or twice a week on that. And then, obviously, news desk coverage for Saturday Down South and Tradition on Saturdays. And the rest of the week when news breaks.
I love it. Ryan Schumpert, what about you over at RockyTopInsider.com?
Yeah, on the baseball front, hopefully by the time you're listening to this on Tuesday, I'll have a kind of fall takeaways or some sort of fall overarching story done. And then Tennessee basketball stuff, Tennessee football. Obviously, we'll get a little bit more ramped up next week with Florida, but we still have plenty of stuff this week getting ready for New Mexico State. So covered on all things Vols athletics. Sylvia will continue to have a lot of great Lady Vol stuff. So anything you need, we'll have it.
I love it. Ryan Schumpert, Ethan Stone, always a pleasure, and I'll talk to y'all next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.